Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Um, okay, I hope everybody see my screen, and this is the class syllabus for today, March 29. Last week, we have learned about thermal comfort, thermal performance of building materials and building properties. All right, and regarding the thermal transfers through or heat gain through the building envelope. And so we learn about U value, OTTV, and how is the affect the building envelope design. And so we had quiz last week. I assigned homework number 4, and actually the due date is not today. The due date will be on April the 5th. Okay, homework 4. Actually, I posted the homework on Microsoft Teams already, where everybody is required to attend the webinar on April the 3rd, which is your homework number 4. Okay, you have to attend the webinar on resilience and sustainable future, and you are requested to make a summary as well as to give the critical reflections, your thought on that, and what can you use, what's your thinking about the webinar and your future. Okay, so this is for homework number 4, which is due on April the 5th. Okay, so make sure that you register. If it's full, just let me know on line or Microsoft Teams so that I could I try to give you the special access for the webinar. Okay, for April the 3rd. It's organized by Acacia, which stands for Architect Regional of Asia, which is the more like a councils of the 21 countries, Asian countries members. Okay, and there are 5 working groups, and this one is organized by Acacia Green and Sustainable Architecture Working Group, where I am the chairperson, and so I think this is gonna be very helpful for you guys to learn international context. Okay, and so today I'm going to finish the class early today because I know that you are going to spend around 2 hours on this coming Saturday, all right, for your homework. So I try to finish the class within 1.5 hours this morning. Okay, and the topic today is about building materials exploration and the green building certification system, which is LEED, and I'm gonna talk about LEED and trees. Okay, for the GNB you can go read on your own, and I'm going to give some of the case studies how LEEDs and tree can be applied into the building design, and I hope these case studies will be your guide or your studio design, how you can apply the green building strategies into your design. And I hope to see the knowledge learned in the lecture integrated into your design studio, which is gonna be very like up value and value added for your design studio. All right, the design for function, design for feel and emotion, for an aesthetic, as well as design for sustainability and social responsibility. All right, So, okay, first, I'm gonna have two sets of lecture. The first set's gonna be the building material, and the second set is gonna be about lead and trees, which I will give some case studies,นะคะ, where you can see the design approach and the way you can make a presentation. All right. Okay. Hang on just a second. Oh, hello. Excuse me. Sorry, students. มือถือหลุดไม่มือถืออยู่ตรงนี้เพราะว่าต้องออกตรงนี้ Do you still see me?
Yes ครับ
Okay. Wait a minute. I'm walking to my office. My small office. Anyway, during the summer session, if any of you would like to harvest the experience on green design or lighting design, you are welcome to do the practical training at my company, my small company. นะคะ it's at the town in the 3 ย่าน นะคะ MRT station นะคะ ตอนนี้ I'm moving my office in the next couple days. Now my office is in สีลม นะคะ โอ้ยหนึ่งมาละ Okay, I'm changing my, okay, good. All right, building material. I show you my lecture. Okay, anybody see, all right? During my lecture, if you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask. Okay, building material for tropical climates. Actually, buildings contribute to the largest raw materials consumers after food productions. You see, every day we have to eat, all right, and that consumes products. And the second is building, all right, because 25% of world's wood harvest is through the building, as well as 20% of fresh water use. We use for shower, we use for toilet flush, washing machine, car wash, irrigation for plants. So those takes about 20% of fresh water use, 30% of raw material use, because when we build a building, we have to find the material and also to make the building for our to make materials for our building envelopes and floors, finishing, ceiling, structural materials, so everything. So you see, when we build the building, it involved with raw materials. And building contributes to 40% of CO2 emission. Okay, and actually in Thailand is less than, in Thailand around 36 to 40% contribute to CO2 emission is transportation. But for building is less, a little bit less than 40%. Okay, CO2 emission means when we make materials, it requires energy in order to produce materials. So energy actually requires fossil fuels or electricity in order to do something, you know, to crush material or to burn or to boil. So that kind of process, material making process, involved in CO2 emission. Okay, not only material making, but transportation process as well as the building process requires CO2. I mean, emit CO2. 20% of land use, and more when we have many more people, we require houses, we require road for the buildings, we require more schools, something like that. So it takes up the land use. Okay, so if possible, we try to look back for our parents' house or buildings so that we don't have to build new building. We can reuse, recycle buildings, so then we can save the land use for green area or for open space นะคะ 40 to 40% of primary energy use. Yes, we use air condition. Yeah, we use electricity for our notebook. That is primary energy use. That is a lot. All right, for energy consumption, for air condition or for heating. All right, so these are also 25% of primary energy is attributed to the burning fossil fuel to provide energy. Yeah, either fossil fuels or natural gas, so those kind of stuff นะคะ because we don't generate energy from nuclear นะคะ we generate energy at the moment. Most of them generate through fossil fuel and natural gas นะคะ but in China they generate from coals นะคะ most of the energy from China generate from coals นะคะ anyway, some generate by renewable energy. Okay, 6 to 20% energy consumed during production, 30% solid waste, and 20% water effluent. Anyway, building envelopes. Now, when we design the building envelopes is like facade, the face of the building, and we think about what kind of material we should use for facade. All right, so facade is not just to put the concrete and plaster and paint. Okay, so we have to think about what material should we think about the building envelope. Of course, aesthetic form, appearance, like if you want the curved form, maybe prefabrication technique to CNC is better than brick wall, for example นะคะ the meaning, when should we use aluminum cladding, when should we use wood, when should we use brick, when should we use bamboo, when should we use whatsoever materials, you know, or what kind of combination of materials. So it's not only the aesthetic and meaning, also it's just to protection the function of the building นะคะ I just came back from Nan last night นะคะ I just finished my school project in Nan province. Nan เนี่ย we have to go to the site in order to feel and to investigate about the climate นะคะ we have learned that Nan เนี่ย it rains a lot นะคะ if you never been there, you never imagine it rains a lot, and it means it's very moisture นะคะ and it's in the earthquake zone นะคะ then what why do we do the site analysis for okay we look at the rain precipitation in the whole year we know that it rains a lot and we look at the weather data the relative humidity is high and it's hot during the summer and it's cool during the winter time yes we need a good ventilations นะคะ and we cannot use wood really and the school mentioned to me อาจารย์ I don't want the wooden door please I don't want the UPVC doors please I want stainless steel doors what you are in the rural area why do you need stainless steel door and we thought first I never been to the site so I thought oh okay maybe it should be the nice wooden look but when they use wood every 1 year or 2 years they have to change the materials due to the moisture what happened to the moisture when it's moist and it creates fungus เชื้อรา fungus and molds and insect termite eat eats the wood นะคะ it is a good source of mold and so very often they spend a lot of money to replace the existing material which is wood and so that's why they don't want wood and I said why not UPVC it's hot okay and it's humid when it's not dry when for example in the toilet or shower area when it's not dry when it's not exposed to the sun it's dry it's not dry then it's fungus นะคะ even UPVC is not withstand with the UV นะคะ or infrared it's gone very fast and so this new version of the school we use steel doors believe it or not นะคะ is cheap in a long run okay because one door they change it 2 to 3 times is equal to one steel door already นะคะ for the whole lifespan 20 years imagine how many times they have to acquire for the maintenance many times the government they don't provide the maintenance cost นะคะ they just provide for the initial cost believe it or not the burden cost is operation and maintenance where we need to fix it we need to keep it nicely นะคะ and healthy for the building and therefore that's why we ask students to do the site analysis for the sun position for the climate for the rain นะคะ when it rains a lot we have to have a long roof in order to protect the rain not to have the water coming into the doors and the window when we open okay in your case please check okay I just went to a nice hotel in Nan newly done in November last year nicely done beautiful but the owner of the hotel said Ajahn it's not working well they have to renovate after it's passed for only 3 to 4 months the beautiful is no longer function what happened is they have a high floor to ceiling and a very high door look nice but the roof is very short it doesn't protect the sun it doesn't protect the rain even the doors and window they cannot open when they open when it rains the rain comes into the building it's not operating well they have to close and then wow there's no air condition they have to use air condition so no good and at night they didn't think of mosquitoes okay there's a lot of problems with beautiful but without thinking so hard about the climate okay so I urge you not to copy from the West นะคะ because the West they don't have mosquito they don't have much rain นะคะ and they need the sun นะคะ and so what happened in the West It's not necessarily good in our climate นะคะ so I would like you to make sure that you check the sun angle and make sure that the roof can protect the sun and the rain, especially if you are in Bang Khun Tien campus. When it rains, the rain doesn't come from vertical sky. When there is a wind, it comes horizontal นะคะ you can imagine the rain comes all over, so we have to think about mechanism in the design นะคะ and orientation of the building นะคะ light and comfort, how are you going to design your building envelope นะคะ for good lighting but not heat นะคะ and the last is construction method นะคะ for example if our site is in the very hard to reach area like in Nan, อาจารย์ make the building in บ่อเกลือ บ่อเกลือ is on the mountain. It takes me 2 hours to come from the airport to the top of the mountain. Okay, and so what? Then why do I have to think about construction method? Because the transportation cost means a lot for the building cost. Okay, and the school doesn't have a lot of money. Okay, so we don't put the traditional method for this school. We have to find an innovative ways of construction method and materials in order to do prefabrication, but not all the prefab like a container. No, if we put the container there, it's expensive too. Cannot drive the car into the steep, and heavy car cannot go. Okay, so they can go but not too heavy. Instead of 1 ton on the truck, they can deliver only 500 kilograms on the truck in order to go onto the steep slope, and that means they have to transport 2 times instead of 1 time, okay, to the mountain and go to the town, to the mountain. The Home Depot, make example, Home Depot in the downtown Nan to บ่อเกลือ 2 hours to the mountain. You know, in order to do that, it takes a lot of effort and energy and CO2 emission. So we have to think what kind of light materials, what kind of material we can transport in one trip,นะคะ, and we can do assembly at the site. So that kind of stuff you have to think about your site and what kind of construction method,นะคะ. Now building envelope. So we have to think about what kind of windows, materials, doors, materials, นะคะ, walls, balcony and shade, นะคะ, and materials can be clay or not. Clay is not good for Nan. Clay may be good for dry climate like Kanchanaburi or Leh, นะคะ, because there's not much rain, and clay or bricks, นะคะ, it can store the heat, นะคะ, onto the, yeah, let me sketch. Okay, เนี่ย clay or thick wall, นะคะ, thick wall, clay เนี่ย clay or ram earth, นะคะ, ram earth. Ram earth is like a layer of mud or brick with the layers of cement and another 10 or 12 centimeters layers of mud or brick, you know, of the earth around there, and then, you know, have a kind of layers and press it. That is ram earth. Basically, kind of ram earth or clay is like more than 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters, 50, depends. The thicker the wall is, you can withstand the load like a load bearing, and it can absorb the heat during the daytime. Now the heat comes here and it store the heat, นะคะ, it store the heat. store the heat and delay the heat นะคะ not to be enter into the building นะคะ so during the daytime it's cool, you know, when you have a room like a temple or a daytime use, you can use clay or ram earth นะคะ in dry climate, but why I said it's not good for Nan because Nanเนี่ย it have a lot of rains นะคะ and this material absorb the water and sometimes it melt when it rains it melt. And if it doesn't get dried properly, it can have fungus and mold. And then when you breathe, it's not so good for your health นะคะ very moisture and dirty air นะคะ not healthy air, unhealthy air, air. So that's why I said you need to look at the climate first นะคะ Next is aluminum. Well, aluminum is nice. Of course, it's durable. It's light, but it looks like a kind of office or it's like a hospitals นะคะ I don't think it's quite nice for residential or school or somewhere that you need kind of warm and welcome feeling, all right, because material is property itself is harsh นะคะ or unless you spend some kind of money to the patterns that you can make a printed pattern on aluminum cladding so that you can have the wooden look นะคะ it stayed long but still again it's not natural look, so I would say that aluminum you maybe consider to maybe modern office or corporate or hospital or something like that. Glass, of course, I already taught in the last couple weeks about glass materials นะคะ where you have to look at U value and SC value นะคะ the lower the better, the lower the better นะคะ wood of course it look nice นะคะ and it's kind of sustainable materials. You can grow the wood, you can grow bamboo to replace the wood they cut นะคะ we call it certified wood นะคะ we should consider what we call certified wood. What does it mean? Certified wood is where they have certificate to certify when you buy the wood from them, they have certificate saying that, hey, when I sell you the wood here, they grow another wood in order to replace the wood that they cut นะคะ or they certify that the wood is not cut or it's more like a recycled wood or unused wood. For example, in Laos, when they make the dam, they have to fill up the water and there are many woods still under the water in the dam นะคะ they hire a scuba diver to cut the wood under the dam, you know, in order to sell to us, for example, that is certified wood, because before that they cut and they didn't have enough time to remove the wood นะคะ so that kind of stuff we call it certified wood นะคะ or recycled wood, something like that. Next is cement. We cannot avoid cement, but if possible we should think about some other material besides cement. Why? Because cement takes a lot of energy to produce นะคะ Gypsum is more environmental friendly than cement นะคะ we can use it but of course it's more expensive but it's more friendly นะคะ anyway that is the building envelope. So let me take a look at Thai or our own wisdom. Actually, our ancestors, they are very genius about that. So because why they can find wood all around, okay, Senton Plain, they can cut the wood or bamboo, and then what else? They can make like design that can grow and adaptable. Like, for example, if they have only their own unit, number 3, and they have the sub-terrace and terrace,นะคะ. This is perhaps a kitchen in the separate area. And when they grow, when they have the daughter to get married, they expand into the big terrace or chan. And they have a kind of connected house,นะคะ. For example, this is the original house, and they can grow, they can add additional house, additional house, additional house. So it's more like a modular design, and they use kind of terrace as the connecting and transitional space,นะคะ. Very brilliant design of the living and expanding unit,นะคะ. Very brilliant,นะคะ. And they have connected system by the chan. This happened 200 years ago, but I encourage you guys to think about any innovation during our design. Is there any new language? But you can apply what we learned from or wisdom into the new design as well. But the reason why this, and they have quite loose plan so that they get natural ventilation in all the unit,นะคะ. Loose plan and a lot of circulations, and they have even elevated floor because the weather is humid and sometimes there's flood and animals. Because so they raise the floor in order to cope with, dangerous animals, and also with the flood, and they can utilize the space underneath for any home, any weaving or activities,นะคะ. And they have kind of split level for ventilation,นะคะ, for ventilation, and the hot air can rise for breathable materials for the roof,นะคะ. And the steep roof for the rain. So anyway, so this kind of stuff has been integrated into traditional architectures more than 300 years,นะคะ. What about our design? Can your design make it better performance and good aesthetic,นะคะ, utilizing natural resources or passive design,นะคะ? When they have a long roof, they have what they call kamyan, or a kind of structure in order to hold the roof,นะคะ, to protect from the radiations. So you see, this is very simple and nice innovation. Let's take a look at the technology. They use what we call prefabrication technique,นะคะ. They use prefabrication technique for each elements,นะคะ. Like what? Like they prefab the column, and so one human or two laborers can carry from nearby site to put there on the site,นะคะ. And what about wall? Wall is prefabricated wall system like this. You see, they can make the wall and the light structure, and they can carry, and then they prefab at the site. It's light. It is light structure,นะคะ. And whether they are on the floodplain or on the hill, they can carry,นะคะ. There's no steel, no concrete,นะคะ. And with the proper treat for wood, it can also withstand,นะคะ, the termite,นะคะ. But anyway, you see they have kind of short, not too deep plan or elevation, so they can have natural light and pre-natural light without artificial light during the daytime,นะคะ, because of the very narrow plan, and narrow plan allows natural light, natural wind into the building,นะคะ. And they normally during the daytime, they come to spend the activities on the ground so that the building can shade and block the heat นะคะ during the daytime of course the heat comes in but you have natural ventilation to take the heat away and wood is not heavy wood is light material and it doesn't absorb the heat so it's not hot นะคะ it's not hot during the daytime nighttime is free nighttime is okay too นะคะ so this is very brilliant way of what we call prefabricated technique into the Thai and we never use any nails นะคะ they use the detail of wood in order to put things together and they can disassembly relocation anywhere they like นะคะ that is traditional technique นะคะ okay so because they think about the pattern about the proportion about the shape line create the plane together create the space นะคะ and like this นะคะ you see space together create space inner space like that นะคะ without any wall it already create the space นะคะ so think about it the design of architecture is the design of the space นะคะ not really the form this is Barai I put this one for you is the way you think about materials and the meaning of the transformation of Thai architecture into the modern architecture. This is what we call Barai. Barai. So Barai spa in Hua Hin นะคะ when you look you can feel Thainess นะคะ what do you see you see columns elements you see the proportion of the opening นะคะ you see the proportion of the windows and it reminds of course the Thai feeling where you don't have to make a kind of steeper roof นะคะ like that and the lighting fixture on the corridor they put light on the ground in order to create the peacefulness and silent space when people enter like when they enter to the temple with the high steep roof and big form and light on the ground it keep us peaceful นะคะ and quiet it's just like the feel when you enter the temple นะคะ the space is huge and it make us small and respect นะคะ respectful peaceful นะคะ like that the light from underneath up light นะคะ something like that and high contrast นะคะ that is the way they create the feeling for Thainess by the location of the opening by the proportion of the opening by the contrast of light by the direction of light นะคะ so I encourage you to think about when you design your own studio okay where you could put the windows นะคะ you can create the atmosphere in the lobby or in the walkway okay even in the bedroom okay I think like this spa นะคะ instead of having a lot of windows นะคะ spa they don't need to look they come to relax and sleep into the room there's no need for a lot of windows in the spa room so you have to think about what kind of atmosphere is good for living room is good for the bedroom and what can be the proportion it depends of your design concept นะ and the concept must be strong so that the design of materials and the opening follows the concept okay and this is another materials for อันนี้ที่ไหน137 Pillar House in เชียงใหม่นะคะ this one my friend owns this hotel นะคะคุณหน่อยนะคะ and the designer for this hotel is also my friend คุณปุ้ยนะคะ from P-Land นะคะคุณปุ้ย my friend she is a nice landscape designer and she has the background in architecture นะคะ so this is the old house abandoned and they put they preserve the wood for more than 100 years by kind of garnished by oil, black color of oil, and it preserve the wood nicely นะคะ and so they come and แต่ตอนนี้ก็ it's the teak wood you know teak wood เนี่ย you can cut after the teak เนี่ย is around 40 years นะคะ even 50 years they can cut the teak wood because then the teakเนี่ย is old enough to have a kind of chemical that the termite doesn't like นะคะ and so we can do that and it's hard นะคะ it's hard the wood is hard so this kind of opening it can protect the rain and allow some natural ventilation นะคะ filtering light and you see a lot of trees นะคะ instead if this is white wall it's no good ถ้ามันจะสเต็กกันใครบอกว่าจะไปรับเองOkay, so we use trees in order to filtering light to reduce what we call glare. แสงจ้า too bright. So many times Thai architecture in tropical climate, the sky is bright นะคะ Therefore we need kind of filtering light by either facade design or green design like this นะคะ Otherwise, if you can imagine, you look at the sky and someone stand in that direction and talk to you, you cannot see, you will see like a silhouette effect, black, you cannot see well. And therefore, I encourage, in tropical climate, we have to think about glare. How you are going to design your facade to reduce glare to create visual comfort. And also to protect the heat นะคะ by facade design นะคะ facade and landscape นะคะ together นะคะ to make it very nice ambient temperature nice visual perception in everything so architect I would like you guys not only to think about building alone, okay? You have to think about landscape design and think about the climate,นะคะ, as well.นะคะ, landscape is important. What another material which is typology of material? This one I got from อาจารย์บุญเสริม นะคะ Prem Thada, he is the young national artist นะคะ he tried to look at the language of Thai architecture that plays with brick and this is the brick from an oven the brick oven in Ang Thong นะคะ even brick in the temples นะคะ when there's a brick is associated with the sound and with the feeling of coolness and the echo sound a little bit and the proportion like this. Therefore, when we create the architecture in Thai, we could have quite narrow and long and large wall. So when you walk, you hear a little bit of echo. Oh, มันก็ฟังดูso ขลังอ่ะ very focused นะคะ and this one is inner in the oven like this นะคะ like this. So the play with the brick and the structure of the oven, it becomes the inspiration in many of the design language ของอาจารย์บุญเสริมเป็นธาดานะคะเนี่ย like this the proportion the thickness of the wall proportion ว่ามันจะต้องแคบและสูงอะไรอย่างนี้ and the curve like this so it's not from the west นะคะ this is derived from the old wisdom of Thai even you see the proportion of the window is quite long you know this is tropical and the innovation from learning from the past is that this is at Kantana film he tried to create quite a narrow wall but outside นะคะเนี่ยเห็นไหม proportion is still the same but also he put the landscape in order to protect from radiation and when you walk here you don't get the sun at all you know you get the shade and when the sun comes this way it got blocked by the brick wall it's not the totally solid brick wall นะคะ he has a kind of steel structure inside นะคะแล้วก็ has a kind of structure detail in order to take the brick because this oneเนี่ยthe unusual shape taper shape reduce the echo and also create the texture นะคะ it will create a kind of dark and light นะคะ when it rains it becomes อันนี้ตะไคร่น้ำ is like a kind of greenish and it feel good นะคะ it feel good so that it can keep some moisture this is the intention of the architect and you see the landscape they use plank concrete plank so that it's quite flexible and the water can seep into the ground นะคะ see this is the stone so that the water can seep into the ground and they can reduce the flood นะคะ this is how it looks นะคะ it's quite pleasant นะคะ and you see the window is in so that it can protect from the radiation from the sun when the window is small and set back into the wall section นะคะ at Phuket this is another feeling this is also residential hotel นะคะ the feeling that they want is kind of Chino Portuguese but this is a hotel it's a hotel นะคะ and therefore hotel they don't want it to look like a temple of course and Sala Phuket is in south นะคะ Chino Portuguese is south how or what kind of mood can we create เขาก็ create the fluffy mood a kind of relaxed and they utilize the color ที่มัน fluffy like gray white and kind of bluish gray นะคะ because it's next to the ocean and so kind of this kind of color create diffuse light and quite comfortable materials นะคะ and also they use kind of patterns that can give the accent of Chino Portuguese through the pattern of the floors, walls, and even lighting design technique นะคะ like that even lighting they use transparent so that they can feel transparency of the water and this one is spa like I said the lighting from below it will give you quite peacefulness and light without smoke you don't see the landscape designer inject the kind of fog นะคะ as a design in the landscape because when the light hit the fog it reflects the effect so that we can see the effect into your eyes นะคะ so this is the design like I said the reason why they have the wall like this is อะไร concrete wall but bare concrete ไม่มีฉาก no plaster because they want people to feel raw they feel no fake openness you see they use wood they use raw concrete wall นะคะ wood นะ so that they can and then water stone so that they can feel raw เนี่ย they can feel friendly and down to the earth because people want to relax ไม่ใช่ not aluminum cladding right they want to feel relaxed and not the marble okay marbles I think it's the different mood นะคะ I think it's like Parisian or vintage อะไรที่มันเป็นลุยส์ที่14อะไรเงี้ยลุยส์14อะไรเงี้ยนะ luxury แล้วก็different นะคะ is different but somehow if you want to feel luxury แล้วก็ not really down to the earth it's more like luxury class so can use the marbles or shiny materials นะคะ again อันเนี้ย they want people to feel relaxed because it's resort next to the ocean therefore instead of marble they use just ceramic tile but Chino Portuguese style แล้วก็ run concrete and wood อะไรอย่างนี้เป็นต้น so I hope you get a sense how to use อันนี้เนี่ย raw concrete not for the room นะ this is just for decoration because concrete wall เนี่ย it store the heat and you don't want that into the room you don't want heat into the room นะคะ so you see a lot of windows for natural ventilation and again this resort เนี่ยมัน a very small area and they cannot อันนี้เป็น service area next to the spa and therefore they have to create their own view into the architecture เนี่ย they create the wall เนี่ยแล้วก็ they create their own view into the living room otherwise they even can create the green wall here too because otherwise they see each other นะคะ this one they can feel the space they can feel the space is long and open นะคะ this is how they want to how you want to think about the materials now life cycle of buildings นะคะ embodied energy like I said it's the energy required to produce the material นะคะ what does it include produce เนี่ย mean production transportation quarry activity and constructions นะคะ these are all what we call embodied energy นะคะ why do we want to think about that because this process emits CO2 okay we want to select the building that has less embodied energy as possible นะคะ and the next thing we need to think about is life cycle energy this is one time this is 50 years this is maybe one time 1 to 2 years okay at the beginning and 50 years is life cycle energy is the energy required during the operations like energy for air conditioning or heating นะคะ and cleaning and energy for dismantling something like that นะคะ so when we want to specify a material for building you don't think about short term นะคะ short term cost no you have to think about long term นะคะ what is overall cost of material plus the life cycle นะคะ at the end of year whatever project life นะคะ 20 years 30 years or 50 years นะคะ you have to see in the long term whether which one benefits the owners or the users of the building more okay why do I say that I give you an example นะคะ when we want to specify a glass kind of glass for one building glass A cost 10 baht and glass option B cost 20 baht. It looks like glass A is a good choice, but this is for the short term, all right? But we have to look at the SC value and U value, how much the heat gain into the building and it costs to air conditioning system and how much in baht or in US dollars for 50 years นะคะ so like this นะคะ that's why I asked you to find what is the property of materials for the building envelope and for the glass so that you know how much heat gain and then what heat gains mean air conditioning cost นะคะ you know the cost of air conditioning per 1 unit and you can times how many years of the project and you know that will be the operation cost or life cycle cost นั่นเองนะคะ so we have to think about what we call initial cost นะคะ initial cost for the material, for the energy whatsoever, plus the operating cost นะคะ so that is the life cycle cost of the project. Okay, many times when you spend more money on the good glass, it turns out that it's cheapest choice in the long run in the 50 years. Why do I say that? There are many researchers have done already on that นะคะ okay like that embodied energy query like machine appliance to get the material from the mountain or from the forest and transport and produce and construction นะคะ like that. So we have to find, you say we see timber is we have to get it from sustainable sources, not from the person who just cut the trees from our mountain. No, because we need to preserve the mountain, the trees. Of course, we want the river to still have the water in the river. But you see, many times they cut the trees for building materials and for food, for potato or for corns นะคะ for animals food นะคะ they have to cut the trees to grow that crops and we have less water can be kept into the mountain and less water for us to use in the city or for agriculture in the land. So we need to be careful นะคะ try to use the reuse recycle material or certified wood, otherwise we have no water in the river like what we are facing at the moment นะคะ the government try to warn everybody to save the water. Why? Because one of that is because we cut the trees for construction, we cut the trees for crops นะคะ especially for corns and for potato for animal food นะคะ even cut the trees for diesel or for palm นะคะ for palm trees นะคะ we have to balance นะคะ otherwise we have no water, we have no food. All right, so we try to eat vegetarian, become vegetarian, we can save a lot of trees นะคะ because when we don't eat a lot of cows, beef or animals, they don't invade the mountain to grow the food for animal for us to eat นะคะ so everyone maybe you try to become vegetarian once a week or twice a week นะ that will help นะคะ alright, that is about material and the way we eat. Thermal mass, we should use low thermal mass นะคะ not to have heavy mass นะคะ lightweight material is good for us. alright so building envelope นะคะ thermal mass is important we should use light thermal mass light to medium but heavy maybe for daytime like for temple heavy oh sorry heavy for maybe temple or daytime use นะ not nighttime use because otherwise the heat from the wall will come to your room during the nighttime for human comfort and for saving energy นะคะ and building envelope you try not to paint the building in black because you know when you paint the building in black it will absorb a lot you have the high temperature on the wall นะคะ try to use light material light color otherwise when it absorbs the heat will come into your room easily นะคะ for the structure you try to use light as much as possible นะคะ if you use heavy structure it means you have to use a lot of sheet pilings and foundation it's not sustainable you use a lot of material for that นะคะ and try to reduce the lift or the elevator of course we design a very nice step or nice stairs to encourage people to walk on the stairs instead of using elevators for example นะคะ alright that and that is about the building and materials นะคะ you try to use something good health and well-being นะคะ like that wood is light นะคะ wood is light because you see you use energy or embody energy very low นะคะ very low brick is the second lowest but brick it transmit the water or vapor it's quite moisture in the building and it's not good for air conditioning when we have moisture transfers into the building เนี่ย it means a lot of air conditioning loads นะคะ because the air conditioning or refrigerator it air conditioning it works to function one is to reduce the temperature another one is to reduce the relative humidities นะคะ so this is air conditioning load you must reduce by having if you have brick you have to have like a water vapor barrier in order to prevent the water transfer into the materials heavyweight no good นะคะ lightweight sometimes okay alright windows like I said of course double glass it use a lot of embodied energy but somehow you need to look in the long run if the energy used in the building could be less นะคะ life cycle energy is much less than the single glass นะคะ alright embodied energy if you use a lot of energy to produce you see the timber it create less CO2 emission or no CO2 emission alright you see bricks they have to burn the brick and it generates CO2 alright clay concrete blocks a lot concrete roof a lot mortar some you know so try to use gypsum or timbers นะคะ as much as possible another emission is methane gas and some other okay I go faster because it's 10:30 already นะคะ methane gas นะ clay เนี่ย a lot of methane gas นะคะ materials must be durable materials นะคะ last long นะคะ material come from renewable resource like can be reused again steel we can reuse again นะคะ we can recycle we can do wood glass many times is also recycled most of the glass surrounded us it has 30% recycled content นะคะ choose manufacture with environmental savvy avoid toxic นะคะ component like no lead no or low VOC something like that นะคะ no toxic paints นะคะ avoid hazardous materials like lead fiber and vinyl flooring waste to energy sometimes waste เนี่ย you can consider you can burn the waste in order to produce a heat for energy production นะคะ waste to construction and also plastic bag they can make the diesel oil from the plastic waste or bag as well นะคะ waste to energy waste to construction you can design maybe construction waste into the furniture or into the decorative items นะคะ into the building or railing ใช่ไหมเหล็ก maybe steel bar left over you can design the balcony or some kind of decorative item for that wasteless นะคะ proper design sustainable construction by modular design นะคะ prefabrication any questions on that any question on that student if no question maybe I ask oh I forgot to download the attendance list okay may I ask Chinnagrit what is embodied energy Okay, I realize that when we turn on, but students are not there. Chinnagrit is not there. Let me make a note.
I'm here ครับอาจารย์
What happened to you?
I didn't turn on the microphone ครับ
Okay, what is embodied energy, Chinnagrit?
I think it is the energy used to produce the material for construction.
Okay, partially true, but it's not only produced, nah. It to quarry and to transport as well, นะคะ Produce, transport and build the building, นะคะ
ครับ
And maybe may I ask Pranpiya, are you there? Pranpiya. Pranpiya เอาไม่อยู่เหรอ Pranpiya เอาไม่อยู่ I will make a note เอาสุภพิษ
ค่ะ
สุภพิษครับสุภพิษ What is certified wood? Supapit, what is certified wood? เปิดค่ะ
wood that qualify
Like what?
wood that has been verified.
I know. Certify what? Certify about what?
In sustainable.
Like what? What does it means?
It has been approved.
approved for being what?
Uh,
แสดงว่าไม่ได้ฟังหรือเปล่านะ โอเคmaybe คนอื่นช่วยหน่อยละกันซูยุนซู are you there ซูยุนซู what is certified wood
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, actually it is the wood that certified that they grow a tree to replace the tree that have been cut for selling to us. All right. It's not, if they don't have certified, meaning that they can cut trees from maybe national forest or unwanted place นะคะ without growing a new tree to replace นะคะ or they can certify that this is recycled wood, something like that. Okay, meaning that is more sustainable in a way that they replace one more or they recycle the wood นะคะ
Okay.
Okay, so this is not difficult, but it seems that many of you get lost from what has been taught in the class นะคะ เอาล่ะ one more lecture is about tree and lead นะคะ now I move on to lead and tree. I wanted to talk onto the headquarter of what we call EGAT, Electric Generating Authority of Thailand นะคะ headquarters and learning center. So I would like to talk about LEAD or and TGBI นะคะ What is LEAD? Okay, LEAD is a leadership in energy and environmental design นะคะ This is initiated by United States Green Building Council นะคะ and it has been used widely internationally นะคะ so that's why I need to discuss and to give you an introduction concept about LEED, what it is, and it can be the guide for the design into your building. LEED, there are many categories นะคะ LEED for homes, LEED for neighborhood or city, LEED for commercial interiors, LEED for core and shell นะคะ not inside. Core and shell is for building that they build for rent นะคะ LEED for new construction and major renovation, LEED for schools, for retail and healthcare. You can go and download นะคะ the concept from LEED website นะคะ for interior you can look maybe okay if you are designing commercial interior you can go look what is the design guideline to be green design for interior. If you are designing new construction like a condominium or home office, you can look at new construction or even you can look at home นะคะ New construction includes office too, that's why I said maybe you can look at this and this together, something like that. Okay, so LEED เนี่ย looks through design part, construction and operation parts นะคะ so LEED has 4 levels นะคะ LEED for certified which is basic นะคะ when they achieve 40 to 49 points นะคะ and maximum is platinum 80 points up to 110 points นะคะ and in between is silver and gold นะคะ so if you do good and many good design you can gain many points, you can achieve silver
gold or platinum นะคะ like that. So these are the concept what they look นะคะ what they look for the leads นะคะ we have sustainable site which is 26 scores, water efficiency 10, energy and atmosphere is the maximum which is 35 นะคะ material and resource 14 points นะคะ and design for environmental quality 15 points นะคะ we have to design for good quality, design for innovation and regional priority 10 points. Okay, so basically when you look, the most important in our era is energy and atmosphere, because we want the building in order to be low CO2 emission. That's why many of the green building certification in most of the countries, they spend more. How are we going to achieve maximum point for this? Meaning that to lower the CO2 as much as possible. And the second contribution or second important is site. The way we select the site is very important. นะคะ 26. And the rest is mostly are equal. นะคะ Let me talk a little bit more on this. You see sustainable site, you see energy and atmosphere is the most important. Site is the second. นะคะ Third is you have to think about material and good quality for your life and reduce the water. But in Singapore, they give priority to water efficiency because they lack of water resources in Singapore. So they give more point if the architect can collect the rain or can recycle the water, something like that. นะคะ So let me okay, this is to recap นะคะ There are six different items นะคะ This is more important, okay, equally important, the third priority. Now let's take a look at the site. Sustainable site. How are we going to design for green building? Like I said, we need to look at landscape. นะคะ You have to look at the surrounding analysis too, not only in the site. Site means including surrounding as well. นะคะ Mandatory is to construct activity pollution prevention, meaning that when we build a building, we have to prevent the dust, the wastewater release into the public pipe, and how to reduce the noise disturbance นะคะ This is mandatory. And you see site selection. 1 point, you have to select the site that is near connectivity, means community and density, not to build a house in the remote area. Like I said, when you build a house very far away without necessary, meaning that the town has to build a road for you, the town has to build the water pipe, electricity line for you. That is not sustainable. We should select the site, if possible, to where the community is, to where the development is, meaning that near the banking, schools, or near public. You see public transportation access. 6 points, you should select the site within walking distance to the BTS or MRT, or at least near the bus stops, so that we don't have to have a car to travel นะคะ Sometimes we have no choice, like Bang Khun Thien campus, we have no choice. When somebody donate the site to KMUTT executives many years ago. They accepted and they built the Bang Khun Tien campus. And because with the intention to improve the community around Bang Khun Tien and the west of the Chao Phraya River as the education node there. That's why we thought we want to develop. This is different intention. Mahidol University. Also, there are some people donate, but they rejected at Bang Khun Tien. They accept at Salaya. Even though there's no train or transportation, they build that because with the hope that they want to develop kind of city around Salaya area. But anyway, this is the intention. In case of if you are building the dormitory or office, you should select where is nearby public transportation in order to avoid CO2 emission by individual cars. Brownfield development, don't build the building onto the bad land like a mine area ที่มันเคยเป็นเหมืองfor example and you build with the bicycle storage and changing, you get 1 point because the lifestyle people, we don't have to build a car, ride a car, we can ride a bicycle. So when you design your building, you should provide a bicycle storage and changing room. Like office, you should provide locker room and shower room, because when people buy it's wet, they sweat, then they need to shower and changing room. So if you have this, you get 1 more point. And low emitting alternative transportation, low emitting or EV, meaning that you have to provide car parking and outlet for EV, electric plug into your facility, not only just regular cars and disabled cars. You should provide kind of like a electrical outlet for EV or electrical vehicles. Then you get 3 points, because you encourage people to buy electric cars. So because this will help. So I hope to see your site layout with the parking. You have EV spot with electric pole. And then alternative transportation parking capacity enough. 2 points. This is by law as well. Site development, protect or restore habitat, meaning that you need to look at existing trees, not to cut existing trees. You keep it. You get the point. You grow the plants to restore habitat because you are going to invade the land for your building. Like the rabbits, the birds has no house. You should provide trees for those where you acclaim the habitat. You should provide the house for those animals. You get 1 more point. Site development, maximize open space, meaning that if you have the land, big land, you don't have to build a building everywhere in your land. You can stack up into vertical, so that you have more open space, more green, more water pond in order to collect the rain. All right, more maybe more park for the people. You get 1 more point. The way you design, you should allow to have more open space, so that the land can seep into the water. Water can seep into the land to prevent the flood. Okay, if you think about stormwater design, you can get 1 more point. How are you going to collect, to have the gutter from the roof and to collect into the water pond? That you can have 1 more point. Heat island effect, non-roof, meaning that maybe you can use a vertical green or the trees. Heat island effect roof mean you have the green roof or solar cell, and light pollution reduction, meaning that you don't shine the light onto the sky นะคะ in your landscape lighting design. So that is sustainable site. Any questions for sustainable site? I hope you integrate this into your design. Second is water efficiency. Okay, water use reduction. Water efficient landscaping means you select the local plants นะคะ that use less water. You use you design the water system like dripping system for the landscape, or you have the pond to collect the rainfall irrigation for the landscape. You get 4 points. It must be designed into the site like this. This is the house. You said you collect the rainwater, and then you have the pond here. This is here, something like that, and then you have the water to induce the wind. The trees to induce it with something like that, water reduction, water efficient landscaping. You specify local plant อะไรอย่างเงี้ย you specify pond, how many square meters in order to provide the water enough for the plant. You must know how much water need for the plants, so you should keep this one in order to enough to provide the water. For example, innovative wastewater technology. How are you thinking about maybe treating the rainwater by plant นะคะ the water can come in before coming to the pond. You can call it bioswale to treat the water in order to collect the rain from here and then stepping, and you put the plant like ทุกฤาษี like the plant that can treat the water before it come to the pond. For example, water use reduction, like use the water saving equipment, something like that. Okay, that's water. Next is this is important. This is energy and atmosphere. Optimize energy performance means you optimize for good building envelope. What is the wall? OTTV, maybe with the shade. Optimize for the shade. What is shading coefficient?นะคะ What is roof? RGTV. You must have lowest.อะไรอย่างนี้ so this one optimize energy performance. If you have this process, you get 19 point นะคะ so this one you can use Cove.tool in order to do the optimize energy performance นะคะ อาจารย์เคยสอน Cove.tool ไว้ยังใช่ไหม Not yet. I can teach Cove.tool later. You can model your building in Revit or in SketchUp or in Grasshoppers, and then you can you can install Cove.tool software embedded into the software, and then you come to the Cove tool. It's cloud-based simulation and it's free for education นะคะ You can do optimization for energy performance, like you can design like what is the size, what is the SC value, U value, and you see the total performance in energy performance. The unit is kilowatt hour per square meter per year. Okay, how this variable will reduce the energy consumption. Okay, this the Cove.tool can do, and Cove.tool can also calculate the water use in the project as well. Okay, and if you have on-site renewable energy, means solar cell, you get more point นะคะ depends on how much PV you can have in your building. So I encourage when you design a building, maybe you can integrate the PV on the roof or on the building envelope นะคะ in order to keep or to store or to use the energy production from solar cell into your building นะคะ so this and this will be by engineering นะคะ next is material and resources so in your building you should have storage room for recycle you must have the storage like this is the organic waste storage and you can also have what we call recycle storage recycle material storage like and in here you have to divide into maybe paper maybe plastic อะไรอย่างเงี้ย maybe aluminum glass and then the doors organic waste is not much but you many times you should have air conditioning to prevent the spoil of the organic waste like a food waste อะไรอย่างงี้ใช่ไหม and then you should have another storage what we call general waste meaning that you cannot recycle or it's not food like a plastic bag อะไรเงี้ยนะ so general waste like ไม้จิ้มลูกชิ้น like a wooden stick from squid grilled squid ปลาหมึกย่าง or from the beef ball อะไรเงี้ยนะ general waste นะคะ cannot reuse recycle so you must have this as a mandatory in the building design นะคะ and if you use if the building if you are renovating you use existing walls floors and slab you get 3 points meaning that you don't destroy the wall floor and stairs for example you keep the same structure same wall you get more point นะคะ if you use or remain and maintain existing interior non-structural element นะ you get 1 more point and if you have construction waste management meaning that you think about how you use material that has less waste นะคะ modular materials reuse you have less waste or prefabrication you have less waste you get 2 points นะคะ material reuse นะคะ like instead of breaking windows or window you save the old window and put it somewhere meaning that you reuse the material นะคะ if the material you recycle content like recycle maybe artificial wood and in the artificial woods you have recycled wood content in there you get more point นะคะ regional materials or local materials นะคะ available not the imported material you get more points นะคะ something like that raw material certified wood like I said okay you get 1 point so this is the material and resources that you should think about and specify into your design นะคะ any questions on materials and resources Next is indoor environmental quality. How architect can design good indoor environmental quality? Of course, first is minimum indoor air quality performance. This is mandatory by law and regulations. Like in a room, you must have ventilations. อะไรอย่างนี้เป็นต้นใช่ไหม fans, ventilations, minimum performance by the law. นะคะ and you have environmental tobacco smoke control in Thailand in any buildings we are not allowed to have any smoke area in the building is illegal or 20,000 baht fine นะคะ so we have to provide the smoke area นะคะ somewhere okay so that is for good indoor environmental quality if you increase ventilations of course by more fans or more natural ventilations you get more point outdoor air monitoring you have the sensor to monitor outdoor air how much ppm. If outdoor air is more than regulations like CO2, must be less than 800 ppm นะ this is the limit นะคะ you can open outdoor air. Of course, normally outdoor air is like 300 or 50 ppm CO2. You can allow natural ventilation, but once if outdoor is poor, you don't open นะคะ not only CO2 นะ you can have PM 2.5 นะ and then 50 ใช่ไหมอะไรเงี้ยเป็นต้นใช่ไหม so you have to have monitor so that you can open the windows or not according to outdoor air quality. All right, and you must during the construction you have to measure indoor air quality. Make sure that good air quality during and before occupancy นะคะ meaning that you have to get rid of the dust and CO2 or VOC before we move into the building. Low emitting material, low adhesive, no alcohol emitting material, like low emitting material for paint, for coating นะคะ low VOC นะคะ that kind of thing. If we use that, we get more point. How do we know that? We look at the manufacturer's catalog. We ask them what is the emission of VOC, of VOC or whatever gas emission we have to have lower นะคะ You can look at the manual of the lead for more details นะคะ something like that. If low material composite, okay, low chemical, low pollutant source control นะคะ controllable of system lighting, meaning that when we have a room นะคะ we have the lighting here, for example, we have the circuit, not one turn on, okay, you have to have controllability, mean okay, if you sit in the back you have different circuiting for lighting, for example, or you can have the front to control the brightness when we turn on projector. You can see the projector in front of the classroom. That is controllability. You must have different circuit like that. You get one more point. Same as thermal comfort, like air condition, you must be able to control in different zone and design for good comfort, okay, not too hot, not too cold, not too humid, something like that. And have the comfort verifications, meaning the monitoring, and have the good daylight and view. If you have more view, you get more points, something like that. That is when you have view, you have good environmental quality. Make sure that most of the rooms into your design have the view and daylight, not the heat. That is indoor environmental quality. Any questions on indoor environmental quality? No. Okay, this is innovation. If you have any innovative in design, like light pipe, light shelf, design of skylight without heat, those they can count as innovation นะคะ Regional priority is something urgent, something important in regional, like design for flood. Innovation, like different location, you get more point. Now next, okay, that I finished leads นะคะ This is the USGBC. Now I want to talk about TREES นะคะ TREES is the Thai's rating of energy and environmental sustainability นะคะ TREES นะคะ NC คือ new construction นะคะ so basically this is stand for TGBI, stand for Thai Green Building Institute นะคะ which I am also the committee for Thai Green Building Institute นะคะ I know that the committee who developed trees เนี่ย they look at leads at inspiration. So many times in TGBI's trees we look at the lead นะคะ so when you look it's quite almost similar we have 35 silver gold and platinum นะคะ so we have that and basically most of things we have similar to lead except we have management I'm sorry this is in Thai we have building management in addition to lead นะคะ and we have site นะคะ we have water we have energy and atmosphere and we have material we have indoor environmental quality and we have this is energy environmental protection นะคะ and we have innovation นะคะ we have most of the time is the same นะคะ so basically we weight more point into energy and atmosphere the same second is the size นะคะ third is material so basically the concept is similar to lead นะคะ like that I move on you can look at in details นะคะ so why the benefit is the energy can be reduced by 24 to 50% this is the same นะคะ the water reduced by more 30 to 40% water reduction and the waste can be reduced and recycled this one 70 to 87% and the material we can use the local material by 20% and more natural light นะคะ the last one is natural light นะคะ when we reduce the energy consumption of course it means reduce the CO2 emission นะคะ so that is the benefit why not redoing the green building นะคะ because we want to have a better environment นะคะ to preserve the water as much as possible to reduce the greenhouse the global warming effect so everyone your design and your specification does matter เอาล่ะ all this is you can read more นะคะ on your own now okay to give you an overall I'm sorry this is in Thai but I will write in here นะคะ for example this is EGAT Electric Generating Authority of Thailand's headquarters นะคะ they have green building technique นะคะ they have the low E glass นะคะ the glass is low E glass high performance glass and they have the shading device นะคะ and they have the core of the building on the west นะคะ in order to be buffer zone นะคะ this is shade นะคะ and they have high performance air conditioning systems นะคะ and don't worry next week นะคะ I will have the air conditioning experts to give you an overview of the air system simple air system in the building นะคะ so air condition I move on and they use LED lighting very energy efficient lighting system with the lighting controls นะคะ and with the lighting controls mean with the sensor for daylight and also with the sensor for occupant sensor the third is they have circuit design different circuit design like the building this is the core of the building circuit design mean that they have lighting or along perimeter with their light sensor and then they have one circuit along the perimeter circuit okay and they have the inner one at the second, and the third circuiting. So they design the circuit according to the zone and the usage as well. And they use, of course, energy efficient equipment นะคะ for example for toilet they use dual toilet they dual flush นะคะ they use dual flush นะคะ which is 3.363 liter per flush which is very efficient นะคะ and this is for man urinal flush 2.25 liter นะคะ and yeah so those are in details นะคะ you can ask manufacturer to look what kind of water use per minute or per flush นะคะ and they use a good treatment นะคะ and they collect the rainwater into the landscape นะคะ so those are highlighted and again the next building they also use low E and math building to the west like this นะคะ math building no windows on the west and they use VRF very high efficient air conditioning system นะคะ efficient LED system like water efficiency equipment and designed to collect the rainwater onto the green roof and also they collect the rainwater into reservoir and like that นะคะ and they also this is the water collection นะคะ See, they use the water from toilet in order to treat the water using membrane bioreactor and the water to come out is very clean นะคะ that is for list and I wanted to show you one more project before we leave which is very good that I wanted to show you from A49 นะคะ this is confidential นะคะ you cannot only for education นะคะ edu only นะคะ I must credit to A49 company นะคะ so this is the condominium in Chulalongkorn University where they design the building that they think about the green design นะคะ and they have the concept that they want to have life during not only condominium to live นะคะ but they want to have life and learn area in the what we call the living complex นะคะ because these days the design of the building นะ you have to think about the people's behavior about the concept of the for ecosystem for living นะคะ not live alone we have to have life and learn together นะคะ and this is the site which is we call block 33 and next to the site is Jula Centennial Park นะคะ 100 years public park นะคะ and this is the site so the designer would like to design the condominium here and the learning and the park here so that there is continuity of the park and the learning and the living public semi-public and private นะคะ zoning นะคะ so and they design this is a high-rise building and you haven't learn on the system but I'm telling you that we need to have what we call mechanical floors every 10 floors for example in order to provide pump or water system or sewage system pump in มันเป็นเรียกว่า mechanical engineering floor นะคะ to provide the pump or the tank or treatment system นะคะ and this one The designer want to have continuous green onto the green roof and then vertical green onto each mechanical floors and also some ventilation on the common area as well to provide the comfort นะคะอันนี้เรียกว่า Futurium Learn อันนี้ก็คือเป็น complex like food and learning area for the student and this is living headquarter นะคะ living นะคะ this is learning complex Futurium okay next is plan when you build so this is not นะคะ and this is the park here parking ไม่ใช่ parking public park อันนี้ที่บอกว่า Futurium this is the building and they have the green area to separate the semi public and public and there's parking in the front นะคะเนี่ยคือ public zone private zone private and they have the green area to separate นะคะ and this first floor to fifth floor is the more like Futurium and ตรงนี้ก็จะเป็น residential ละ some common area นะคะ for residential let me move on and you see all the level they have green area instead of putting solar cell because they want to leave a nice urban green นะคะ integrated because they don't have much land area so they have to use both horizontal and vertical green นะคะ into the design let's take a look at the plan นะคะ you see they put like a common area which is open green space and they open it for the ventilation นะคะ for ventilation นะคะ so and this one we call it double loaded corridor because they want very high efficiency in the town นะคะ and if we look at the plan here นะคะ of course they want to provide the view for living and bedroom and the toilet is on the corridor and you see that you need to provide the duct space นะ so that they can do the maintenance from outside นะคะ and the door we open indoor coming in you see the nice view and open space dining and living area นะคะ แล้วก็ this is the duct I think for ventilation and for the mechanical นะคะ they need ventilation for the bed for the toilet นะคะ to get dry นะคะอันนี้ก็ for the living room for the bedroom นะคะ so like that นะคะ you see they have to mirror so that the duct can be shared between this unit and this unit นะฮะ you see the toilet is next to the open space for ventilation and for the duct this one for natural ventilation นะคะ so for the bedroom number 3 for example you see there's a green this is the green the ventilation this is the duct so that we can make the maintenance when we come in this is also the duct for the ventilation you see when we open we have nice view and then they separate into living and bedroom on the left bedroom on the right this is the more like public in the private area okay dining and living and then dining and living room and bedroom is on the left and right something like that very efficient and besides they provide kind of ventilation for each unit by this innovative duct as well นะคะอันเนี้ย living room they have the corridor to set back to prevent from the shading นะคะ from the radiation and it reflects into the elevations นะคะ and you see the elevation on the west this is north you see east and west have quite less area. Like I said, the for cross ventilation, and you see the west has less area than the north and south. Okay, like that. And each room, some room they have in the section have the double for the treesนะคะ and for ventilation, as you can see นะคะเอาละ like that. This is in the future realm, where the green park inside the unit, all the green นะคะ to create the cool ambient temperature and shading during the daytime นะคะ so this is how it looks นะคะ so the green they decide to have like a green in each different section นะคะ in each different section they have all the concept like plateau, cliff, cascade, forest, so they have like different section and follow the theme green in each different sections, and therefore it reflects into the design นะคะ but besides that they need to think about circulation. Therefore, the parking is in the front,นะคะ, and there is an entrance for the public and for the private,นะคะ, like that. So you see, they design like the lobby, when they enter the lobby, there is different theme. Oh, there is like the cave with the waterfall, the cave with the stone, so that each different design is still interesting, and double height นะคะ for good ventilation, for example, and students can spend the time on the green common area so that they can have friends, they don't stay in the home นะคะ separately, so there is a community. Like I want you to take a look here. You see, in different plan, they have this like a green common area for them, so natural ventilation, very cool and ambient, so it save energy. Instead of they turn on air condition in each unit, they can go to share space in between here. Okay, with the good design, students will use it นะคะ like that. And this is for the smart city, because this is the concept for smart city, where Chulalongkorn they have the concept to become smart city นะคะ which for example they have to have smart waste management, smart transportation for parking and for application to call the cars, smart transportation by solar cell and EV cars, for example. So and the green area, so this one they have to certify 3 Thai green building. So these are the design techniques in order to achieve the green building by trees นะคะ First, they have the weak water, like dripping system for the water, and they have the shading device in order to protect the solar radiation.นะคะ, this is shading device, and I hope I see the shading device into your design as well. And they have the green roof here in order to collect the rainwater and reduce heat island effect. And they have the green area in between village, they call it village, for natural ventilation and for light. They use recycled material and local materials. They use the glass that have the reflectance less than 15%. Okay, this is the point. The law and regulation said the reflection, glass reflection, had to be less than 30%. But for green building, we have it must be less than 15% for green building นะคะ and the toiletry and the faucet they use air-free specification 100% water saving equipment and they have green wall along on the facade and green roof นะคะ high energy efficiency wall building envelope นะคะ and they have also green area on the landscape they have parking for EV cars and eco car and app carpool app and solar cell on the roof so these are and they have chiller is air conditioning system นะคะ for large building system it provide hot air out so they put the chiller in where it doesn't disturb the sound and the heat to the people so these are green building design technique integrated into the design นะคะ and in your final project please put this into your design studio as well นะคะ so that is a kind of technique how they earn the scoring นะคะ and besides that they put into the psychometric chart and wind analysis to see the wind direction and sun locations and they run the analysis on the heat fall onto the building as well as the wind ventilation analysis นะคะ so with this I hope that you will be able to do this นะคะ using Cove.tool software นะคะ in order to support your design for your second studio นะคะ second year studio shading analysis how much it can protect the heat and allow the light into the building นะคะ that is the concept of the green นะคะ this is more engineering you can read into the details นะคะ this is engineering technique how they use retention tank and where is the tank นะคะ you see in each floor they have the village water tank นะคะ like that นะคะ in order to put the local pump for the irrigation system นะคะ you have to think about that into the architectural design like I said there is mechanical room in every 10 floors mechanical rooms in order to put the tank and the pump นะคะ this one they in the section they have the water tank they have the big water tank on the ground okay from the city and they have the water tank on the ground and then the pumping station they pump to keep the water here they keep the water here and then they let the water come down feed by either pump or gravity นะคะ to feed these floors okay to feed this floor this one feeding this floor for example because there are trees here นะคะ so the water is just enough to provide for the trees นะคะ something like that นะคะ so this is for the engineering structural engineering systems you see they use the shear wall for and they use reinforced concrete column post tension slab in order to reduce the floor to ceiling height so that they have more height onto the ceiling นะคะ make a truss structure here shear wall let me show you where is the shear wall on the plan I will show you the here เนี่ยก็คือ shear wall เนี่ยก็คือตรงนี้นะคะ without columns shear walls for elevator for the 5 stairs นะคะ that is a shear walls and they hidden the column on the walls too อ๋อไม่ใช่เนี่ย shear wall เนี่ย this is shear wall ไม่มี column นะ they use shear wall นะคะ they use shear walls เนี่ยลงไปเลยข้างล่างเลยนะคะ instead of columns they use shear wall so that they can reduce. I think it's a clever design. Otherwise, when you have columns like this, column like this, when you have wall like this, ตรงนี้เป็นผนังใช่ไหม the interior is not, and then later on the interior have to put another brick wall in order to keep the straight line for the nice look. It's not very energy efficient. So therefore the engineering design to have shear wall ตรงนี้ไปเลยนะคะ very very thin and long column นั่นเองนะคะ in order to withstand the load and the wind load นะคะประมาณนั้น any questions คะ students? That's all my lecture today. So this is the lecture today นะคะ I finished the building material and lead and trees นะคะ and homework number 4 everyone is required to attend the lecture on Saturday นะคะ 10 a.m. Bangkok time นะคะ you are required to register pre-registered so that you can get the access to the webinar and you are required to listen and reflect onto your own article submit by April the 5th นะคะ any questions คะ students? Okay. If no students, then thank you very much and I will see you next Monday. On this Saturday, you see me too because I will be give the welcome speech นะคะ โอเคค่ะ
อาจารย์ครับ
Yes
This
yes
Saturday what time is the meeting again?
อ๋อเพิ่งพูดไปแสดงว่าไม่ได้ฟังปุ๊บหนึ่งนะ 10 a.m. Bangkok time. You cannot just jump in นะ You have to register in advance. You have to register in advance. Register เพราะว่าไม่งั้นมันไม่ทันนะคะเดี๋ยวนะ I will open the webinar 3 and ไหนเดี๋ยวนะน่าจะอันนี้มั้งอันนี้ you can scan to register นะคะอันนี้ the evolution of urban resilient and sustainable future you have to register เนี่ย 10 a.m. Indo-China time 2 hours นะคะ so อันนี้เดี๋ยวอาจารย์จะต้องมีโปสเตอร์ by SOAD นิดนึงไม่รู้สงสัยยังไม่ได้ดาวน์โหลดประมาณนั้นค่ะอันนี้ล่าสุดอาจารย์มี SOAD ละนี่ตรงนี้ประมาณนี้นะคะ so please register in advance นะคะ by clicking here or by scanning there นะคะป่านนี้ไม่รู้เต็มไปยังแต่ว่าถ้ามันเต็ม you need to tell me I will send you the link I hope โอเคค่ะงั้นถ้าไม่มีอะไรแล้วก็ see you on Saturday 10 a.m. Bangkok time ค่ะเจอกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ